Today I'm going to be playing the entire career of Colorado quarterback SHEDEUR Sanders, starting here in his senior season with the Colorado Buffs, following him all the way through the draft, and eventually to retirement from the NFL. I think we all can agree that SHEDEUR Sanders is the best quarterback prospect in his draft class, but can he ultimately become the best quarterback in the NFL? Now, SHEDEUR starts off as a 95 overall senior quarterback for the Colorado Buffs. He also starts off as preseason all-conference, and he also starts third on the preseason Heisman watch list. And to ensure that SHEDEUR has a prolific rest of his football career, we have 10 challenges put in place that'll dictate whether this was a success or not. Starting off here in college, become a college All-American. Moving on to the draft, being the first quarterback taken off of the board. While in the NFL, winning the Offensive Player of the Year, winning the NFL MVP, winning 2 Super Bowls, leading the league in yards, leading the league in touchdowns, play 14 plus seasons in the NFL, become a 90 plus overall, and make it to 8 Pro Bowls. Things are pretty similar to what happened in IRL. They went 9-3. Here they go 8-4. SHEDEUR has an amazing season though. 4,300 yards, 41 touchdowns, and just 3 picks, 64% completion percentage. And on the ground, he also chipped in with 420 yards and 5 more touchdowns. SHEDEUR also completes his first task of this sim. He's going to be a first team All-American. And as you would suspect, IRL, SHEDEUR is probably going to be sitting out their bowl games since they're not in the college football playoff. Coming over here to Madden in week 15, SHEDEUR Sanders is going to be the top player on the draft board. And when you take a look at the first mock draft of the year, they have SHEDEUR slated to go to the Raiders. All right, boys. So the second pick is in. Jack Sawyer went off the board first to the New York Giants. And now the Raiders are on the clock. And they take no other than SHEDEUR Sanders. We got another challenge off the board. He is the first quarterback taken in the draft. So SHEDEUR is going to come in as an 82 overall with a hidden dev trait, which means he's going to progress pretty fast. So take a look at the quarterback room for the Raiders year 1. SHEDEUR is the #1 guy. His backups are going to be Justin Fields, Gardner Minshew, and then he's also got Aiden O'Connell. So taking a look at SHEDEUR's offense here, he does have a major weapon here in Brock Bowers, who's already an 87 overall X Factor in just his second season. But on the outside, things could be better. He's got Jacoby Myers as his wide receiver 1. He's got Juju Smith-Schuster, and it looks like his slot man is going to be Trey Tucker. And then in the backfield with him at running back, he's got Rico Dowdell. Now, his O-line needs to work as well, but his blind side is going to be well protected with Colton Miller, who's a star dev trait, 6'8", 325 left tackle. You can see here on ESPN, they are talking about it. He's gearing up for preseason. SHEDEUR is ready for his NFL debut. Let's sim through season #1 and see how his rookie campaign goes. So in season #1, the Raiders improve a bunch, and they just barely miss out on the playoffs, going 9-8. SHEDEUR has a very rookie season. He threw for 3,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, but he did throw 18 interceptions with a 66% completion percentage, 203 yards per game. But again, he doesn't have the greatest targets. On the ground, he gave you another 200 yards and another touchdown. His leading receiver naturally is going to be Brock Bowers, 72 catches, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. And Trey Tucker actually had a decent season as well, but they got to get him some more weapons. SHEDEUR also doesn't finish in the top 10 of offensive rookies of the year. It goes to Emeka Egbuka. And the top 2 quarterbacks on the list were Carson Beck and Jalen Daniels. Coming into season #2, the amount of weapons that SHEDEUR has actually gets worse. He still has Jacoby Myers, but he goes down 2 overalls. Juju Smith-Schuster goes down. He's now in the slot. Trey Tucker does emerge a little bit. Colton Miller stays the same on the O-line. Our right guard is a 62 overall. They do draft a right tackle who's a hidden dev trait, but Brock Bowers is a 90 overall, and he's going to continue to get better. SHEDEUR is now a superstar dev, just not a superstar X Factor. He is an 85 overall. Look for him to continue to get better, and I think his numbers should go up here in season #2. Season #2, the Raiders finished third in the division once again. SHEDEUR actually throws for 4,200 yards, which is 6th in the NFL, 34 touchdowns to 17 picks, 64% completion percentage. On the ground, he chipped in for another 4 scores with 317 yards. And he has not 1 but 2 1,000-yard receivers in Jacoby Myers and Juju Smith-Schuster. 9 touchdowns for Myers, 6 for Smith-Schuster. Trey Tucker had 10 touchdowns, and Brock Bowers had 921 yards. So even though he has a mediocre receiving core, he is slinging the ball all over the place. SHEDEUR also gets some votes, finishing top 10 in the best quarterback in the AFC. Season 3, SHEDEUR comes in as an 89 overall. He's got 99 throw power, 90 deep accuracy, 86 medium, 88 short. He's got 80 throw on the run, 89 play action with an 88 throw under pressure. The Raiders still aren't getting him any receiving help. We do have a new face here in Quentin Johnson. Brock Bowers is now the best player on the team at a 92, but they get another hidden dev trait tied in here in Knox. Campbell, the right tackle, ends up being a star dev trait. They just drafted a left guard with a hidden dev trait, and Colton Miller does go down slightly. He's now 85 overall, and Powers Johnson's a 79. So right now, our only real weak position is right guard. The Raiders continue to win less and less games by the year. They go 6-11, finishing last in the division. 3 of the 4 teams in our division all made the playoffs, and they all had 10 or more wins. SHEDEUR throws for another 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 18 picks, 63% completion percentage, 237 a game. He has a 90 QBR. On the ground, he gives you another 2 touchdowns for 300 yards. Leading receivers, Jacoby Myers goes for 1,000 again with 10 touchdowns. Brock Bowers, 836 and 10 touchdowns. Quentin Johnson, 63 catches for 748, 6 touchdowns. So scoring doesn't really seem to be that big of an issue. It has to be our defense. All right, boys. So here in season number 3, SHEDEUR actually knocks out another challenge, and that's becoming a 90 or above. But with him getting better, and so is his O-line, and Brock Bowers continues to just fly up the boards at a 95, the Raiders refuse to bring in wide receiver talent. So here in season number 4, we don't have to go in the standings to look at the record. The Raiders go 11-6. They're finally making the playoffs. SHEDEUR was 3rd in the NFL with passing yards, 4,500, 29 touchdowns and just 12 picks with a 70% completion percentage. On the ground, he scored another 5 with 300 yards. And through the air, he had 2 almost 3,000-yard receivers. So it looks like the Raiders went out and picked up some receivers throughout the sim. They picked up Darnell Mooney. That didn't really end up affecting things, but they also picked up Michael Pittman Jr., who had 83 catches, 985 yards, 5 touchdowns. Brock Bowers, his first 1,000-yard season, 89 grabs, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. And Quentin Johnson emerges as the #1 receiver, 95 grabs, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, 72 yards a game. So when it comes to yearly awards, SHEDEUR doesn't get any MVP votes, and that's fine. He also doesn't get any Offensive Player of the Year votes in the AFC, and he barely gets any Best Quarterback votes, finishing at 9 for the 2nd year of his career. So in SHEDEUR's postseason debut, he gets a win here on the road at Houston. Came out here versus CJ Stroud, outdueled him, and picked up the dub. Take a look at the head-to-head stats. SHEDEUR had a hell of a day, 25 for 35, 318, 71% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Quentin Johnson continues to have an amazing season, 7 for 114, a touchdown. Dominique Dorsett, the running back, scored a touchdown through the air. Then DeMarcus Harris, unlikely hero, 3 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. Things do not get easier as we have to take on a division foe who is also 11-6, Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Take a look at both times these teams played this year. The Raiders did bump them off 2 times, 28-14 in week 11, and then in week 17, 23-20. All right, boys, we got Mahomes taking on SHEDEUR. Let's get it. All right, boys, so we got 6 minutes left in this ball game. SHEDEUR and the Raiders are down 1, 2nd and 5. In their own territory. Let's see what he can do here. Got a man in center. Man in motion, excuse me. He goes to Brock Bowers. That's going to be the first down. We got a 1st and 10 here across the 30. SHEDEUR in shotgun. Back to pass again. He goes to Brock Bowers again. He was off to the races. He's across the 50. Big first down play for the Raiders. Plus territory. SHEDEUR's got this offense moving and grooving. In shotgun once again. Gets the snap. He's going to fake the handoff, takes a shot down the seams. That's a catch, first down Raiders. So the Raiders are bound to come away with points here as long as SHEDEUR doesn't turn the ball over. He has 0 interceptions here today. Back to pass once again. He goes underneath Michael Pittman Jr. picking up the first down. See what happens when you give SHEDEUR a few weapons, man. He can make some things shake. He is just a few plays away from taking the lead late here versus the Chiefs. He's back to pass again. He goes with a quick pass to the outside. 2nd and goal here. 3:30 left in this ball game. SHEDEUR now under center, coming out in the classic I form. Taking a little bit of time off the clock. They go ahead and hand that off. He's met in the backfield. That's stuffed. So 3rd and goal here for the Raiders. You want to score a touchdown here. You don't want to just take 3 with Mahomes getting the rock back. SHEDEUR out of the pocket. He throws it to Brock Bowers. He breaks a tackle, and he's brought down 4th and goal. Kick team for the Raiders will come out here, and they will have to let it fly. They will go up 2 points as long as they can knock this through. It is a chip shot. The kick is up. The kick is good. Now, can the Raiders defense come through and get a stop here for SHEDEUR and the boys? A field goal will win it for the Chiefs. Under a minute left here, and Mahomes doing Mahomes things, driving down the field. Isaiah Pacheco loses some yards there. They pick up a lot of chunk there. 3rd and 5, 4th and 5. Kick is up. Kick is good. 6 seconds left here for SHEDEUR. Probably all but the last play of the ball game here for the Raiders. This is what happens when you can't punch it in against arguably the greatest quarterback of all times. Mahomes went right down and scored. SHEDEUR back to pass. He's taking a shot, and it's, oh my goodness, Michael Pittman almost made a catch, but that is going to end it here in Vegas. The Chiefs get the last laugh. 3rd time's the charm as they win this game 24-23. Both quarterbacks played exceptionally well, but the real difference maker here is Pat Mahomes threw 2 touchdown passes. SHEDEUR only threw 1, but you can't get mad at SHEDEUR's inaugural playoff performance. He played well in both games. He just couldn't punch it in towards the end. On the ground, he didn't have much help there either, and through the air, Brock Bowers had a day. DeMarcus Harris gets a touchdown through the air. but I feel like the play calling could have been a little bit better down there in the red zone. Take a look at the Pro Bowl roster here, and SHEDEUR actually is going to put a dent in one of our goals, and that is make 8 Pro Bowls. And how we came up with 8 Pro Bowls, his dad made 8 Pro Bowls, so I want to see if he can at least match him. Same thing with our goal of winning 2 Super Bowls, because his dad has 2 Super Bowls as well. But SHEDEUR isn't going to be the Pro Bowl starter, but he is on a Pro Bowl roster as QB3. You love to see it. So for season 5, the team is looking pretty decent. Brock Bowers is now 97. SHEDEUR Sanders is a 91. Quentin Johnson goes up to an 80 overall. Our other tight end, Knox, is a star dev. He's 77. McAllister is up to a 78. Du Bois is up to a 78. So we got some decent receivers, but just nobody cracking that 80. Another thing to keep in the back of your mind here for season number 5, SHEDEUR is on the last year of his contract. Will he move on for the Raiders, or will they bring him in and break him off and throw the bag at him? So the Raiders in season number 5 actually regressed horribly, 6-11 after going 11-6 last season. And SHEDEUR actually has an interesting season. 3,700 yards. First time since his rookie year not thrown for 4,000. Just 16 touchdowns and 8 picks on 66% completion percentage. Looks like they ran the ball a good amount. Keaton Mitchell, who was picked up in preseason, scores 10 touchdowns. Through the air, Quentin Johnson has a 1,000-yard season, 3 touchdowns. Looks like they picked up Christian Watson and Ricky Pearsall in preseason as well. 3 touchdowns for Watson. Pearsall was 6. Bowers with just 3 touchdowns. I'm not really sure what was good with the play calling this year. Going into season number 6, SHEDEUR does get the bag. 5 years, $147 million. He's going to be making 55.3 in his last year in 2034. But the team just continues to pretty much stay the same throughout his whole entire career. Brock Bowers still at 97 overall, but no longer a superstar X factor. Campbell's up to an 87. Left guard is still weak. Powers Johnson up to an 85. Quincy up to an 83. Colton Miller's no longer a star dev, and he's only an 82. And here in season number 6, the Raiders go 8-9. SHEDEUR throws for 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns with only 13 picks, 69% completion percentage. On the ground, he ran for 370 with a touchdown. Through the air, Quentin Johnson, another 1,000-yard season. Matthew McAllister, just under 1,000 at 933. 11-9 touchdowns for the both of them. Brock Bowers, another big season, 88 for 957, 7 touchdowns. 87 for 952 for Maurice Du Bois. He had 8 touchdowns as well. And despite that one playoff berth where they did win their first wild card game, the Raiders have been struggling mightily to make it to the postseason. Here in season 7, the offense kind of still looks the same, except for Matthew McAllister is now the number 1 guy. Quentin Johnson is now the number 2. Du Bois is actually coming on strong. He's a star depth trait. The left side of the O-line is looking amazing. The right side needs some work. Brock Bowers is officially up to a 99 overall. SHEDEUR coming in as a 93. All of his throwing stats are still going up. He still looks good. He's even got a little bit of speed. He's putting up the numbers, but his team is just not winning that many games. New season, same exact record. The Raiders go 8-9 again. SHEDEUR throws for another 4,000 yards, 34 touchdowns, only 5 picks, 71% completion percentage, 253 yards a game, 112 QBR. On the ground, he gave you another almost 300 yards with 2 touchdowns. Through the air, Brock Bowers, 92 grabs, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. Quentin Johnson continues to be great, 84 for 989, 10 touchdowns. McAllister as wide receiver 1, 72 catches, 910, 10 touchdowns. Du Bois 77, 844, 6 touchdowns. All this offense, and it doesn't matter. The Raiders just still cannot find their ways back into the playoffs. So coming into season number 8, it looks like the team actually went out and spent a little bit of money. So the O-line is looking flawless right now. Brock Bowers is up to a 99. SHEDEUR is still a 93, so he's not really progressing, all the way, but 93 is not bad. Du Bois is the wide receiver number 1. McAllister's number 2. Quentin Williams is gone, but they did go out and sign Nico Collins, who's 33 years old. So this season was a complete and utter disappointment. 7-10. It looks like we're going to be pretty much stuck on what we can do. If SHEDEUR wants to be great, he might have to leave this organization, but they're going to be giving him the bag. He throws for 4,800 yards, 36 touchdowns, 13 picks, 68% completion percentage, 282 a game. On the ground, another 347 with 3 touchdowns. Through the air, Brock Bowers 98 for 1,200, 12 tubs. Du Bois 95 for 1,200, 6 tubs. Nico Collins 79 for 987 with 8 tubs. McAllister 65 for 776 for 6 tubs. And I just got to see where this team is finishing. 6th in offense. This team was 6th in offense this year. Defense was 23rd. That's the answer right there. So it's not the offense. We say the offense looks kind of shaky, but it's quite literally the defense. Even though SHEDEUR's having great years, not getting any MVP voting, and I'm not mad at it. Come to offensive player of the year, he's not getting any voting. When it comes to best quarterback, he's simply not getting any votes because his team is not winning. But for the record, he was 3rd in passing yards, 5th in passing touchdowns, and his QBR was towards like the bottom 3rd of starting quarterbacks and everything like that, but he's doing the damn thing. All right, boys, so the O-line is right back to looking the way it was looking. We still got Brock Bowers. SHEDEUR is now a superstar X Factor as a 94 overall. The running game, null and void. The Boyce is the #1 guy. They brought in an old man CD Lamb to be wide receiver 2, and McAllister is dropping off the face of the earth. They really have to fix wide receiver digression because that shit is insane in this game. At this point, I feel like this is all this team has. 8-9 once again. SHEDEUR throws for 4,400 yards, 38 touchdowns, just 8 picks with a 72% completion percentage, 113 QBR. On the ground, you know he's going to give you like another 300 to 400 with some more touchdowns. That's 4. And through the air, CD Lamb came in, 89 grabs, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. Brock Bowers, I believe this is his 3rd straight 1,000-yard season, 9 touchdowns. The Boyce, 72 for 885, 5 touchdowns. McAllister, 76 for 817 and 7 touchdowns. But again, boys, take a look at this offense, 11th in the league. And then you take a look at the defense. They were 21st in the league. So just as many yards as they're gaining, they're giving up on the other side of the ball. This year, though, SHEDEUR does get some Offensive Player of the Year recognition, and he's also going to finish top 3 in best quarterbacks in the draft. And his draft mate, Jalen Daniels, seems to be the better quarterback at this point in time. So for Season 10, the offense is an 83 once again. Left side of the line looks good. Right side is serviceable now. Brock Bowers is starting to regress a little bit. He's a 98 overall. SHEDEUR still at 94. Our receiver core is looking pretty solid. The Boyce is at 86. We got Puka Nacua, who's an old man now. We got Godwin. We got Marvin Harrison Jr., who's an old man now. But the offense is yet to be the issue, man. It's this defense we got to talk about. And they don't look half bad this year, except for the fact they got a 69 overall strong safety, but we don't make any changes on what the team has going on. The corners need some help as well. Hopefully we can make the playoffs. Jokes continue to write themselves here, 7-10 in season number 10, but I guarantee you that SHEDEUR actually had a great year. 4,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, 13 picks, 70% completion percentage, decent QBR. On the ground, it's same old, 2 touchdowns. Through the air, Brock Bowers, 944. The Boyce, 944. Literally just 4 catches apart, same amount of yards, same touchdowns. Godwin, 80 for 941, 10 touchdowns. Puka Nacua, 81 for 871, 9 touchdowns. McLaughlin chipped in a lot with 4 touchdowns on 397 yards and 54 catches. Offense was actually 20th in the league this year, so they weren't as good as they have been in the past, but the defense is almost last at 28th. So season 11, SHEDEUR Sanders is starting to regress a little bit. It's just a 92 overall. Brock Bowers is now down to a 96. The O-line doesn't look half bad. I'll give him that. The wide receiver core is actually decent. Our running back McLaughlin actually is looking pretty good as well. And the offense as a whole is up to an 86 overall. So the Raiders are right back to their norm. 8-9 seems to be the best we can do. SHEDEUR is 3rd in passing yards, 2nd in touchdowns, 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns to 14 picks, 70% completion percentage, 265 a game, 106.8 QBR. Kind of his norm of what we're used to seeing. The running game didn't offer nothing. SHEDEUR did add another touchdown there through the air. Nick Lawrence, a newcomer, 77 catches, 1,100 yards, 15 yards a catch is crazy. 12 touchdowns. Godwin had a lot of catches, a lot of yards, but didn't find the end zone. The Boyce continues to be a staple of this offense. He has 11 touchdowns, 853 yards, 74 catches. And Brock Bowers, even though he's getting a little worse in his career, 71 for 805 with 8 touchdowns. So we're in season 12, and some things never change. 7-10 is what the Raiders go again. SHEDEUR throws for 4,700 yards, 44 touchdowns, just 10 picks, 70 plus completion percentage once again, 277 a game, 117 QBR. Rushing wise, he gave us 6 touchdowns on the ground. That's crazy. And then receiving wise, 2,000-yard receivers, 18 touchdowns for Dion Godwin. Oh my goodness. 16 yards a catch. The Boyce had 11 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards. And Brock Bowers continues to be the solid tight end that he has been for SHEDEUR's entire career. So for the first time, SHEDEUR finishes in the MVP voting, and he finishes just 2nd to Jalen Daniels. I don't know what his stats were, but they had to be insane. Jalen Daniels also gets Offensive Player of the Year to AFC. Our wide receiver Godwin finished 2nd. SHEDEUR finished 3rd. SHEDEUR naturally finishes 2nd for best quarterback, but our receiver did win best receiver. That's our first award period for our team throughout this whole entire sim. So for the first time in a long time, SHEDEUR is back in the Pro Bowl for Pro Bowl number 2. So we put another dent in another challenge, and it seems like he's only getting better with time. So for the first time in SHEDEUR's career, he will be without Brock Bowers, who goes to play for the San Francisco 49ers. He's still really good as an 88 overall, What was upstairs in that front office thinking? Looks like the Raiders felt like they found another stud in Sutphin. And SHEDEUR, you know, holding on to those 90s. He's a 94 overall now after a couple good seasons. Posey's an 84. The Boyce is still holding it down to 83. But who's going to step up and take over Brock Bowers' production? At this point, 8 and 9 is a sick, cruel joke. SHEDEUR throws for 4,400 yards, 32 touchdowns, 13 picks. Completion percentage is down a little bit. So is the QBR, yards per game, around what it's been his whole entire career. On the ground, he gives you another 4 touchdowns. Through the air, 2,000-yard receivers, Posey and Du Bois, 9 and 10 touchdowns respectfully. Andrew Wilbur gave us 6 touchdowns, 944 yards. Our new tight end isn't quite Brock Bowers, but not a bad season. Here in season 14, we are back to a not so familiar place, but we've been here before. Exact same record, 11-6 in the wild card playoffs. We will be taking on the 10-7 New England Patriots. SHEDEUR throws for 4,400 yards, 33 touchdowns, just a singular pick, 70% completion percentage, 255 yards a game, 118 QBR. You love to see it. On the ground, we actually had a running back go for nearly 1,000 yards. He had 11 touchdowns. SHEDEUR had 1 as well. Through the air, dual 1,000-yard receivers again. Posey, 1,200 with 94 catches, 11 touchdowns. Wilbur, 93 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Du Bois, 54 for 872, 9 touchdowns. Sutphin, our new tight end, 70 for 658, 3 touchdowns. SHEDEUR finishes second for the second time in his career in MVP voting. Finishes second like he has many times in Offensive Player of the Year. But he is going to win the best quarterback of the year for the first time in his career. That's our very first player award with SHEDEUR Sanders. And the Raiders are going to lose this game 45-14. They got blown off the face of the earth. SHEDEUR played horribly in this game, 16 for 29, 1 touchdown, just 162 yards. Run game had nothing going. Receivers did nothing. Meanwhile, the quarterback for the Patriots, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 319 yards. I mean, the jokes continue to write themselves, bro. SHEDEUR does make the Pro Bowl, though, for the 3rd time in his career. SHEDEUR did complete another challenge after last year. This is season 15. He's officially played 14 plus seasons, and he now sits as an 88 overall. Posey is now a star depth trait as the number 1 guy. Du Bois continues to go down. He's older. We got a new receiver in Gant. Sutphin continues to get better. The O-line actually looks really, really good, though. So in year 15, SHEDEUR goes 12-5, and it looks like they got a first-round bye. SHEDEUR throws for 4,400 yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 picks, 68% completion percentage, 261 a game, a 108 QBR. On the ground, Kenny Mills did his thing for a shot to him. SHEDEUR gave us 2 touchdowns for his signature 200 to 400 yards. It's just up in the air. Dual 1,000-yard receivers, but Posey went nuts, 95 for 1430, 11 touchdowns. Getting less catches with less yards, had the same amount of touchdowns. Grove, 60 for 68, 4 touchdowns. Sutphin has actually turned out to be pretty good. He's not going to be the 1,000-yard threat that Brock Bowers was, but 70 for 663, 6 touchdowns. I'll take it. So even with that amazing season, SHEDEUR finishes 4th in MVP voting. He also finishes 8th in Offensive Player of the Year. And when it comes to best quarterback, he's top 3 behind Kay Klubnik, who's in his draft class, and whoever this Ed Reeves guy is. Fresh out of the bye week, boys, and it is time for the playoffs. Divisional round. The Raiders had a bye. Can SHEDEUR take this team over the top? And this right here is how you cement yourself and your legacy. SHEDEUR with 3:48 left in this ball game, handing the ball off, and they got to try to get down the field and score to win this game. All right, we got a 2nd and 9 here, shotgun. SHEDEUR putting his tight end in motion. He's back the other way, back to pass. They only bring 4. He gets that one off. It's to his running back. He gets the first down and more, and he's out of bounds. So we got a 1st and 10 here, 3:15 left in this ball game. SHEDEUR's changing some things up at the line of scrimmage. He's got his tight end moving in motion once again. It's going to be back to pass. He's back, surveying. He drops it off to his running back once again. Missed tackle on the outside in a big gain. Tight end in a motion once again. They only bring 4 once again. That's not enough pressure for SHEDEUR. First down and more. He's across the 20 in the red zone. This is where they couldn't finish the job inside the red zone last time, man. We were here in this predicament. So SHEDEUR got his tight end moving in motion again. This time it's going to be a play action, pressure in his face. He can't get rid of it. Luckily, he does not fumble. Fresh out of the 2-minute warning here. 2nd and 18, coming out in the I form set. I don't really agree with that. Why are we coming out in the I form? It is what it is, I guess. SHEDEUR going to go ahead and hand it off. That one stuffed and met at the line of scrimmage. So 3rd and 19 here, obvious passing down, bro. If I was the Raiders, I would try to work on some of this clock. Looks like they are doing that. And they play it too safe again. They run it up the middle, and they're going to settle for 3 as the Bills take a timeout. And SHEDEUR's defense comes up with an interception with 39 seconds left. SHEDEUR and the Raiders are going to the AFC Championship game. SHEDEUR comes out in the victory formation. The game is over 20-17. Allegiant Stadium is rocking, and the Raiders are headed to the AFC chip. SHEDEUR goes 24 for 32, 328, 75% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no picks. His leading receiver was Tyler Hargrove, 9 for 108. But his man Daniel Posey continues to eat, 7 for 118 and 2 tubs. SHEDEUR is 1 win away from a Super Bowl appearance, boys. Let's get it. So this game ended up being a landslide. The Raiders dominated throughout, 29-7, and SHEDEUR and this squad are headed to the Super Bowl. Who would have ever seen this coming? And what a game from SHEDEUR. 28 for 36, 373, 77% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And Posey had a day, 12 for 195 in a tub. Pro Bowl rosters are out, but SHEDEUR's in the Super Bowl, so he won't be playing in this game, but I'm pretty sure he made it. And now the Super Bowl is set. It's going to be Raiders, Seahawks, and we finally get to have some fun and some input here in this sim. Now we're going to see if we can help SHEDEUR and this team get to their first Super Bowl. This is going to be the only time I jump in and play for the first one. Boom. Go with a nice throw to our tight end, who replaced Brock Bowers. Go ahead and hand that one off. We're going to pick up the first down. Let's go. New fresh set of downs for SHEDEUR. He's got a man open. It's Posey, the #1 guy. Could he juke inside? He does. Down inside the 20. All right, first and 10 here, man. Looking to punch this one in. You got to get more than 3, of course. Tight end in motion. Oh, he's open too. He's open too. That's a dot. Come down with it. Bang! What a throw from SHEDEUR. A lot of game left here for SHEDEUR and the Raiders, but they're down 3 in the 4th quarter. Let's see if SHEDEUR can get one of his signature drives. Brings his tight end in motion once again. He goes back. Taking what the defense gives him is going to be Hargrove. All right, 3rd and 1 here. We're going to keep it on the ground, but we're going for this on 4th if we don't pick it up. Boom. Bounce. What? I mean, they got it immediately. I think we got the weapons to be able to get it. We got our tight end. Yes, sir. It's Sippin. He's going to truck a man, push out of bounds. He's got all day to throw, and he's got Hargrove. He burns his man. He's inside the 15, inside the 10. Let's go. SHEDEUR back in shotgun. Taking what the defense gives him. He goes to Hargrove. What a tough catch. SHEDEUR flushed out the pocket a little bit. Could he burn the linebacker? He does. He's going to run that one in for 6. They go up 3. So the clock hits triple zeros in this one, and SHEDEUR and the Raiders get it done. What a magical run. 28-25 after years and years and years of subpar play. Ring these fellas. They get the dub. Way to stay down with one organization, SHEDEUR. You got it done. And one would assume he's probably going to be Super Bowl MVP as well. So I don't know if Madden changed it or not, but we didn't see who was the Super Bowl MVP. But SHEDEUR 15 for 21, 238, 71% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no picks. On the ground, SHEDEUR also rushed a touchdown as well. And through the air, Posey 5 for 108 with a touchdown. Sippin 4 for 53 in a touchdown. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say SHEDEUR won Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, Taron Jones had 14 tackles, 13 solo. That's insane. But what SHEDEUR did was will his team to victory after years and years of poverty. Coming back for season 16, the team is pretty much the same. Posey's actually a dog. He's the best player on the offense right now. SHEDEUR's just an 86, but we're fresh off of a Super Bowl, and I wonder if they're going to have that Super Bowl hangover, or are they looking to compete for another season? So a year after winning the Super Bowl, the Raiders are going to miss out of the playoffs by some type of tiebreaker. The Patriots get in at 9-8 over them. SHEDEUR has a decent season, 4,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 67% completion percentage, 242 yards a game, 103 QBR. On the ground, Cliff Bowles did his thing. SHEDEUR gave you another touchdown. And Daniel Posey continues to be a dog, 14 touchdowns, 94 grabs, 1,200 yards. Shout out to Frederick Gant, 83 grabs, 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns. Tupin caught a lot of balls, 77 for 828. But he didn't score a lot of touchdowns, literally 1 touchdown. That's a lot of catches and a lot of yards to only get in the end zone 1 time. All right, boys, so the Raiders are back to what they normally do. They go 7-10. SHEDEUR in year 17, 4,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Another touchdown on the ground, through the air. I mean, Daniel Posey's been a dog, 100 catches, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Shout out to Eric Blackwell coming on strong. Brandon Supin, another year of a lot of catches and a lot of yards, but barely find the end zone. Ronnie Lacey came on and had a great year as well. All right, boys, year 18, back in the playoffs, a 10-7 record. SHEDEUR throws for 4,200 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 7 picks, 70% completion percentage. You know, the same shit he's been doing pretty much every single year. He gave us another 3 touchdowns on the ground. And Eric Blackwell actually ends up being the best receiver this year, 94 for 1051, 7 tubs. Daniel Posey, 78 for 978, 8 touchdowns. And Rodney Lacey, 78 for 978, 13 touchdowns. And Supin finally finds the end zone more than 2 times, 7 touchdowns on the year. All right, so they got the 11-6 Cleveland Browns here in the wild card round, and SHEDEUR and the company lose 30-27. SHEDEUR didn't play bad. 308, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 31 for 41. Top receiver was Blackwell, 10 for 99. Supin had an amazing day as well, 9 for 97. It just looks like ultimately it came down to who had the ball last, and that's exactly what happened. They lost in OT by 3. Boys, we're at that point in the sim where SHEDEUR Sanders has indeed played his last snap as a Las Vegas Raider. Instead, at 40 years old, he is now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers actually make the wild card round of the playoffs. And SHEDEUR at age 40, 3,500 yards, 28 touchdowns to 8 picks. He gave you another touchdown on the ground, and he didn't have a single 1,000-yard receiver. SHEDEUR comes out victorious versus the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card game. What a game for the 40-year-old. 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 276 yards. On the ground, he gave him 8 for 60. Through the air, he spread the ball around a bunch. 5 different receivers caught all 5 of those touchdowns. Divisional round of the playoffs, SHEDEUR and the Steelers knock off the Dolphins 34-17. 310, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. 21 for 31, 67% completion percentage. On the ground, he gave him another 8 for 32. And through the air, Robert Burrow, his tight end, is going to be his top receiver. 8 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Then in the AFC Championship game versus the Buffalo Bills, 27-21, SHEDEUR is really on his Tom Brady right now, leading the team to the Super Bowl at the age of 40. And that Super Bowl is going to be against an 8-9 Lions team. That's insane. An under 500 team barely squeaked into the playoffs, made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and on paper, they're better than SHEDEUR and the Steelers. All right, boys, and in dominating fashion, SHEDEUR finishes the job with his second team, bumping off the Lions 40-18, and he has officially capped off one of our hardest challenges that we were going after. That was win 2 rings like his pops, and he got it done in potentially his very last NFL football game. So take a look, SHEDEUR up there once again with the coach. I'm pretty sure that means that he won Super Bowl MVP. So that's 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs with 2 separate teams, and SHEDEUR got it done. Not really sure what's going on with the textures of the coach's shirt, but I can't believe that he's out here doing the damn thing. SHEDEUR dominated these entire playoffs, 22 for 27, 81% completion percentage, 313 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. On the ground, he didn't really do too much, but Dale Stevens, the unlikely hero, 10 for 159, 2 touchdowns. Burrow had a touchdown. Freeman and Redmond had touchdowns as well. And like we expected, boys, SHEDEUR is hanging it up, riding off into the sunset. He said, yeah, it felt right. I needed to hang it up. He is officially done here. So even with the Super Bowl, SHEDEUR is unable to jump over Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Pat Mahomes. So he is firmly cemented as the 4th greatest quarterback of all time. 2 Super Bowls, 2 championships, both in the AFC, and 4 yearly awards. SHEDEUR's awards include being a first-round pick. He made 3 Pro Bowl appearances. 2 of them, I believe, he didn't make because he went to the Super Bowl. He won Offensive Player of the Week 4 times, and he also won the 2038 Best Quarterback. In his career, his best QBR was 118. He did it twice in 2036 and 2038. Best career year in yards is 47.98. Best career year in touchdowns is going to be 44. Best year with the least amount of picks is going to be 2038. He only threw 1 touchdown the entire year. Best completion percentage in the year, he did it twice, 2036, 2033. Most yards per game was in 2032 when he threw for 282. SHEDEUR ends his career with Raider records of passing yards in a career of 77,065. He also has career passing touchdowns with 580. He has a season record for passing touchdowns at 44. He has the rookie record for passing yards with 34.55. Also part of his awards, SHEDEUR won the Super Bowl in 2043, winning the Super Bowl MVP, as well as winning the Super Bowl in 2039, where he won the MVP there as well. So take a look at the challenges that we set out for before we jumped into this sim. SHEDEUR did fall a little bit short. He was the first quarterback off the board. He never won Offensive Player of the Year, but he did win Quarterback of the Year. Y'all let me know if that's equivalent. He never won League MVP, but he did win 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He did win the 2 Super Bowls. He never led the league in passing yards or touchdowns. He was 2nd and 3rd in both of them before. He did play 14 plus years. He did make it to a 90 plus overall, and yet he only made it to 3 Super Bowls. All in all, boys, you let me know down in the comment section below if you feel like this sim was a success or not. For me, I feel like he's still arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. If you want to see a video where I go back in time and save Johnny Manziel's career, click right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.